I think it's time to get rid of my ZV-E1. The reason is honestly because I noticed that I'm not gonna use it for what I initially had intended it for. See, the reason why I initially got the ZV-E1 is because it had the custom in-camera LUTs. It was great for vlogging and I could use it as an everyday setup whenever it came down to my videos to have something to vlog easily with, have great quality of video. And to be honest, at first, this camera did everything and more of what I wanted to. It still does, and it's a phenomenal camera, so I can recommend it to a lot of people to get it if it's something that you need when it comes down to a full frame camera that goes 4K 120 frames per second. But the reason why I didn't want to keep this camera anymore, it's really just because of two major things. The first thing was that despite its size, it still wasn't as nice as the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 for reliability on-the-go filmmaking. And that was one of the main reasons why I got the ZV-E1. It's the portability and functionality that it had, but now my Osmo Pocket 3 has become the easier vlogging setup. It has 4K 120 frames per second if I truly need to. Yes, I'm not able to change lenses or something like that, but the whole point of this camera was to be able to vlog a lot smoother and easier. And now with the Osmo Pocket 3, I have a really great vlogging setup that it kind of made this camera a little bit harder to use for my needs. And the whole point as to why I actually got the ZV-E1 was because it was more portable than my A7S III. It had in-camera custom LUTs, but now I have the Osmo Pocket 3, has really great, pocketability and everything like that to be able to use on the go for great vlogging, which I can use so easily. And now my A7S III has in-camera custom LUTs, which, to be honest, it kind of does everything that my ZV-E1 can do without doing the dynamic active stabilization. But speaking of dynamic active stabilization, Sony also put out a new firmware update for my A7C Mark II that I made a video about already, that it added it to it. So with the two new firmware updates from Sony with the A7S III for custom LUTs in camera for the A7S III and the dynamic active stabilization on my A7C Mark II, kind of doesn't really make sense for me to keep my ZV-E1, especially because I can pair it up with all my other cameras together to really just do what I needed and not have to have one more camera with me. So yeah, that's kind of my reasoning as to why my ZV-E1 became a little bit obsolete in a sense, because now with the firmware update of the A7S III and the A7C Mark II, it just really does what this camera did in my separate cameras, which kind of makes sense more for me anyway, for my workflow. And as well, the Osmo Pocket 3 is a phenomenal just vlogging camera that is so small and compact and usable that it's just nicer than having to bring this around, despite it being a great camera. So don't think I'm just dogging on hating on this or anything like that, because I still love this camera. Just for me, I don't see a purpose to keep it just for the sake of keeping it. It's kind of like a little weird feeling because in reality, I love this camera. It's really cool to have it, but it's been getting to the point lately that I just don't want to keep gear around just for the sake of keeping gear. And it's kind of my thought process now that in reality, now with the in-camera custom LUTs for the A7S III, which is probably my most used feature for this camera because the dynamic active stabilization is kind of good, but now that the A7C Mark II has it and it has, for me, it's a sharper image and everything, I kind of just don't need it to just have around and stuff like that. And for the sake of not repeating myself over and over, it sucks, but it's the part of growing up when it comes down to your camera gear, I guess. So it's a bittersweet moment to know that this camera kind of became obsolete to me. I'll be pretty much selling it here in the next few days on my own, just to kind of get some stuff that I wanted to do with this camera for some projects and some YouTube videos. And then it'll be off to somebody that can put it to better use than I can. And that way I can reinvest the money into any other gear that I need. Like I recently picked up the Tamron 50-300 because it's something that I need for my other content and everything. My A7 IV, which I'm filming with right now, has been doing a phenomenal job with nice photo and video, which I hope that Sony puts out a firmware update so that I can get in-camera custom LUTs on this camera, because then honestly, I'm pretty much set for quite a while because this camera does what I needed to. My A7C Mark II does everything that I needed to, and the A7S III, phenomenal for video content and some photo because it has a low mechanical shutter, and now my Osmo Pocket 3. So for everything that I need to create content with, I'd be set despite, having this one. I'll still be set even if I get rid of it. I guess one of the good things about getting rid of camera gear as well is that I guess my wife will be happy because it declutters the area, and for myself, It declutters my space so that it can let me think freely as well. So kind of fun that, you know, we're getting some updates that are well needed when it comes down to firmware updates that we've been like searching for and seeking for and begging for with Sony. So now I guess I understand because it becomes obsolete for, you know, for them. But when it comes down to, you know, firmware updates and what's happening around with Sony right now, what are you going to be doing about it if you own this camera and maybe the A7S III or wanted to pick one or the other? Since I know a lot of the people that have been wondering about my A7C Mark II and ZV-E1 and A7S III to know which one to get, I've tried to help them out as much as I can, but to be honest, if you do have the budget, the A7S III, now that it is, you know, the in-camera custom LUTs, instead of having to buy an FX3 for a lot of the other cinema things that it might have, you can probably get a used one for a good price and more expensive than the ZV-E1, of course, because this is more budget. But if the budget allows, I would recommend probably just going with the A7S III now, due to the fact that you have dual SD card slots for extra memory or for backup, has better heat dissipation, and as well, just has a little bit more ergonomics that makes sense for the filmmaking world. But that's just me when it comes down to, you know, that thought process now. Anyways, it's kind of weird to make this video because I have actually enjoyed this camera. But yeah, I would highly recommend looking into the A7S III if you can. Get it used. You'll probably love it, and it'll just do everything this camera can do, but you'll have a little more security. Won't have dynamic active stabilization, but it is what it is. To be honest, I personally don't use it. No offense to Sony, but their stabilization has never been on par with other brands like Lumix, for example. So you probably still need a gimbal anyway. And the weight of the A7S III with it just kind of feels better when it comes down to a gimbal if you're trying to balance it out a little bit better with the lens of your choice. But that's just my kind of thought process with it all. Well, anyways, if you have any questions as to any more information that I didn't cover as to why I'm getting rid of it, or, you know, helping out to know if you should get maybe the ZV-E1 still, an A7S III, A7C Mark II, I'd be happy to help you out. I know it's been a subject that a lot of people have been interested on and have come to my channel and asked me or DM me about it. And I'm happy to just give you my insight of the pros and cons for every of the cameras that I use, because I'll give you a real life scenario. I don't make money from Sony. I don't make money from any of the brands like that. I kind of try to just get the stuff that works for me, and I'll be honest about what I like about it or what I don't like about it, because it's my hard-earned money that I spend on it. So having the Osmo Pocket 3 has been really great ever since I got it. Obviously now it went up in price. For some people it might not make sense, but still really useful, especially for the vlogging, which it was, like I said, one of the main reasons why I got this one, because it'd be easier to travel with to make content, especially because it's a smaller camera. So when you're holding it, it won't be as tiring as if you're using the A7S III. But all good things come to an end for a reason, and it's time for this one to move on to somebody else. And despite having the nice little custom skin on it, but A7S III feels like a new camera to me now with the new firmware update, and we're gonna keep rolling with that and just using the camera that I'll have available to me after this and still be able to create the content that I want to, just now downsizing a little bit. Well, I guess I added a 50 to 300 now, but yeah, oh well. Still pretty great to add some stuff and get rid of stuff. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.